Welcome to the podcast where we discuss all matters financial planning and investing. This content contains general information only and may not be relevant to everyone. Please contact our office to make sure and determine if this is relevant for you.
Hi and welcome to the podcast. I'm David Lockton. I'm joined by my co-host Kyle Eccles. How are you, Kyle?
Good yourself, Dave.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thanks. Today we're talking about really how actually creating financial plans can really change the way you feel, the way you go through your daily life and act with people. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people worry about money.
Yeah, I think that's that we spoke about before, is if you don't have, is that fear of the unknown, and that's and that stops people from doing things. And I think if you've got control of, it's like with anything, like even at work, I think or at home, if my area around me is tight and then I'm feeling control and then things, you feel more calm, I suppose, and things look better. But if things are a bit sort of, out there, it makes things a bit more difficult.
It's going to be extremely stressful, and I know myself, I need progress. And if I haven't got an organised plan, like even when I first come into the office in the morning, generally I'm writing down what are the things I've got to get done today. So some sort of plan, if I'm just going from one area to the other area and, just the confusion around different things, it annoys me. It becomes really difficult. And with financial planning, I find a lot of people don't have plans. Yeah. So money becomes a problem pretty much all through their lives, is just because they haven't taken control or taken steps to...
Yeah, and that's that worry. Even if you... Like at the end of the day, everyone's working towards getting to that point where they retire, or maybe not retire, but get to the point where they've got the flexibility to stop working or work less or do something else. And if that's the end goal, whether you know it or not, but everyone's working towards that. But if you don't have a plan for that, then it becomes, you sort of, and like you said, if you need to feel that you're moving forward, so if you don't have a plan, how do you know you're actually progressing towards getting that?
I always say, look, finance and money is important until it's not. It's not the most important, but unfortunately for a lot of people it is. Yeah. Because if you don't have any, it's the number one thing on your mind. How do you get some more? And just the stresses of when bills come in and all those sorts of things. It's one of the most unsettling things, and one of the biggest problems with a lot of couples as well when it comes to money. Fighting and who's spending what and who's got what bank account. And who...
Well, it's like you said before, it's money is not the goal. The goal is something else, and money is a tool to facilitate it or help make that easier. But that's not the end of the day. That's not the actual goal for most people in general.
So true. And it's like, at the end of the day, money is a tool, like you're saying. It's like, well, what would be the top priorities? It would be more probably generally your family, your health, your happiness, all those type of things. We weren't put on this world just to make money, right? Yeah. But unfortunately, it's one of those things that without it, we live in a financial world where without it's very difficult.
Yeah, it makes things easier.
It makes things easy. It's dumb to have no money. It's like if you're trying to help people or you're trying to do things, if you've got some more money, you can do those things, whether it's your family, whether it's your charities, whatever it is. It makes a lot of sense. And just getting that, the reduce the stress and really satisfaction of, we're actually only on this planet for a short time. You think of it, there's only, I don't know the facts specifically, but it's like there's under 25% people who are born still alive.
Well, it's really, the fact about that was really actually quite, not sad, it was quite down. It said, it was an American thing, and it's obviously life expectancy must be lower in there. I've heard Eddie Murphy say this before, and it said, if you're 50 today, you've only got 26 summers, 26 winters. I'm going, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing, like going from, obviously, like I'm hitting my 50s now, I'm turning 52 in a couple of weeks. All your life is really accumulating, or you're getting to a position where you feel like you've got a lot of time. I look at my clients who are, in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s. I haven't got a lot of time left.
No, that's right.
Do you know what I mean? And, unfortunately, there's people around us, and you just know there's tragedies and so forth that happen all the time. Things go wrong. And we're not going to be here forever, and that's the reality. Two things: death and taxes, right? I don't think the taxes are going away either. So, but having that freedom to choose and getting control of your money and having a plan for it, so really you can put that to the side and really get on with your life. And I think it comes down to you can make choices. Choices around how you want to live your life, choices of does it come up, what you invest in, how you spend your money, and just give you a lot of different options.
Yeah, because I think the people that we speak to, they want to get to a point where, like you said, there's that freedom, they got the choice, and basically do the things that they want to do when they want to do. And that, obviously, I suppose the ultimate, if you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. And like you said before about, if you're working, it's because you get to, like you've said for yourself, you said, you may never fully stop, or not necessarily in the short term, but something may change, and it's like, but it's, you know, you're doing something because that's what you want to do. You're not doing things because you have to, because money's the tool and you need it.
It's really interesting because you get to different stages in your life where, you know, I thought $1 million was a lot of money. You know, back probably, I think I had $1 million in my bank account probably 17 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I thought, oh, that was the pinnacle, right? And I was like, well, actually it meant nothing. It was like, you know, so what? But now, obviously, $1 million isn't a lot of money. And all things have moved on from there. But you know, I've got to a point in my life where I could change a few things. I could easily retire, but it's not the goal.
No,
do you know what I mean? Retirement or doing nothing is not the goal. So having the freedom to choose, and I feel like a lot of people do value-based spending, value-based buying, depending on, you know, how they live their life. So a lot of people getting to a point where if they're building up to retirement, for argument's sake, and they're happy spending X amount of dollars, let's say it's 100 grand per annum or 150 grand per annum, whatever it may be, generally once they get to retire, they don't change.
No, because that's, again, we've talked about before, and I've mentioned the podcast that I listen to, and it's about, and you've said before, it's like your identity. That's, you know, if you spend little now and you've got a client who's, you know, got the resources to spend a lot more, but she chooses not to, because that's just the way she is.
That's the way it is. Look, I've got a client I go and see quite regularly, doesn't even turn the lights on. I'm like, with a jacket on in the winter, I'm like, put the heater on, put the lights on. I can't see here. You know? So at the end of the day, our values and our, you know, systems around money is probably not going to change, and it doesn't matter how many you have. You know, whether you have, a lot of people try to get up to 10 million, for argument's sake, and a lot of people try to go to 20, you know, depending on, you know, whatever's relevant for yourself. They're all targets, but the reality is life's about living. But if you have a plan for your money, you stop worrying about it.
That's right.
You know, it generally, you know, over a period of time, whether it's probably 15, 20 years, like when you go through phases of your life, so 0 to 30, for argument, it's all about just getting a car and getting some money or whatever, figuring it out. And then in your 30s, generally, a lot of people gone down the family track and, you know, you've got different expenses and so forth. And then you hit into the 40s and 50, to between 40 and 50, life gets more serious. Like you do feel a little bit older, right? You know, it's like, oh shit, I better start saving for, you know, the rainy day, and making sure that, you know, I always talk about you want to be living your best life now, but also once you get, you know, down the track, you still want to enjoy that. You know, for myself, like, you know, hopefully the kids get partners one day and get married and have kids and all that sort of stuff. So getting into that journey of life will be different. I want to make sure that I'm comfortable, they're comfortable, and future kids are comfortable.
I think it's like you talked about value-based spending. So in your 20s and 30s, so at that time, I suppose that is what's important to you, or your value is, you know, get in their car. And as you get older, and then you get married, and then it's suddenly you've got young kids, and now that they become really important, and your house and all that. So like you said, as you get older and you go through different stages of life, and so your spending, your inherent, you know, way you are with money doesn't necessarily change, but what you value, I suppose, changes. What you value spending on.
Oh, 100%. As you go through life, that all changes, but you don't change that much. No. And that comes down to that sort of the future peace of mind. You know, and we deal with a lot of clients that have hit in that 40s and 50s and, you know, building up or even hitting retirement, that they want to get to a position where they want to continue the lifestyle that they're accustomed to. Imagine getting to a point where you're living a certain way and then all of a sudden have to stop doing everything because you can't work anymore, or you got retrenched or whatever, and you didn't build up enough money that you can continue living your lifestyle.
You'd be very unhappy, wouldn't you?
It would be extremely difficult to put up with. Like I always say, like at the end of the day, we generally don't want less. You know, we want what we're capable of, what we're used to. And I always find like it's quite difficult to change anything in 12 months. Do you know what I mean? Like you can get moving on something. But over, you know, 5 years it can help, 10 years, 15, definitely 20 years, you can change everything.
Definitely the longer, and we've said that before, it's never too late, but starting early gives you, like I think we said before, if you start early, you have to do less to get where you want to be. The later you start, you have to be a bit more aggressive, or maybe even sacrifice a bit more in terms of what you're spending to be able to give you that peace of mind down there.
Yeah, it's like the future proving, like how much you're going to need to fund your lifestyle. It actually gets really complicated depending on age pension entitlement you may or may not get, or what your investments may or may not be, you know, between super, between maybe property investments, share market investments, if you're a business owner. And what it does is a lot of people just push it down the track because it's really hard to work it out. Like if you haven't seen hundreds of different cases of what you should be doing, how do you know what to do?
And that's the problem, is you keep putting it off, because like you said, even at, I think the last time we spoke, we talked about when you're 20, you think 30 is old. When you're 30, you think 40. But when you get, and you always think you've got time, and then it gets a little bit too late when you get to in your 50s or 55, and you're thinking, well, 65 is considered normal retirement age. It's like 10 is like, what do I need to be doing? And then
I've always felt through my life I'm running out of time. I always thought that, I haven't got to where I wanted to get to. Sometimes you got to smell the roses and go, you know what, you've achieved a bit. It's like, well, because what happens is you always looking for the next thing. I know I might hit certain goals, but I don't reflect on that or probably appreciate that as much as I should, because it's like, you know what, that's actually pretty good where you got to. It's like, well, there's always someone better. There's always someone who's gone further and all those sorts of things. But for most people, if they can really just control their cash flow, get to the next point is like, having some sort of goal around what assets they should be building, whether that's super, shares, property, business, whatever it may be, that will be able to fund them. And really, because if you're growing, you're not concerned with your money. Yeah. It's only when you're shrinking or like when you're accumulating money over your life and you're working and you always feel like you can replace. If something goes wrong, you're just going to work a bit longer, right? Yeah, that's right? But it gets to the stage down the track where you don't really want to get it wrong. So you want to make sure you get your ducks in a row and build your assets so you've got a nest egg that can fund you depending on what you want to do. Yeah.
I think you mentioned there about you don't take the time to appreciate sort of what you've achieved, and that's planning as well and setting goals and moving towards it, because you're always comparing yourself to other people, and there's always someone that's better than you, let's face it. So, and then you have that sort of FOMO, and then you think that you're worse. But if you plan and have goals and you start to hit those goals, and again, my podcast, the book I read, it's all about if you take time to reflect on just achieving the small things, because that then gives you the incentive or the will to keep going, because if you achieve. But if you're thinking about, I'm going to retire in 15 years and I need $2.5 million and I've got 300,000 now, and it's like, oh, that's a big number, but you don't. And then it just all becomes too much. Yeah. But if you just break everything down into little things and start working towards it, it makes so much.
Oh, it's amazing. Like we're lucky enough, I do review, we've got a lot of clients, do a lot of reviews every week, every year. And just seeing the progress of people is phenomenal over time and where they can get to. And then, just starting some new plans for probably some younger people at the moment, it's like where they can be is astronomical, with the right plan and the right thing. It's like, oh my God.
I don't even think they even know. They know they earn good money, but I mean, those particular ones, they came in, the reason why they came to see is because we earn good money, but we've got nothing to show for it. And they've been on good money for a while.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you do A, B, C, and D, you can have all this stuff. It's pretty simple. But if you're not from that background, it's not simple. Yeah. And it is difficult. It's like anything. And I think when it comes to really happiness around your money and your life and all those sorts of things, it plays a big role in what you're able to do and what you're able to give and how you perceive yourself and just in general. The worst thing you want to do is wake up every day and worry about money.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I am very lucky. I don't wake up and worry about money. Yeah. I worry about other stuff. But there's always something to worry about, right? But at the end of the day, getting to a position where you've got a plan in place, and that comes down to, whether you're trying to improve your fitness, your health, your business, your relationships or whatever. At the end of the day, if you put a little bit of effort into it, you can achieve a lot in a really short period of time. So it's what we've seen over and over again, planning your cash flow, your investments, your protection, and also making sure that one day when you do retire, how that looks, whether you're doing into a different type of career but for myself, I know that will be more mentoring and, I couldn't see myself do anything. I'll drive my wife nuts and drive myself nuts. And I don't have any, specific hobbies. My hobby is my business. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, well, how do I get that better? How do we help our clients more? How do we get to a different position? I think if, part of this is just all about getting to a place where your money and having a plan, I just see the relief. It's like that. People always say, why didn't I do this 10 years ago?
Control of, like you said, first and foremost, that's the most thing that we see with them. Even like you said, even really high income earners, they've got no control of their cash flow. They just spend, and once you get top of that, and then everything sort of falls into place. And, once you get more control, you feel a bit more at ease, and it makes things...
Yeah, it makes it easier. Look, if you're watching this and you're or listening to this and looking to get, a plan in place and you want to feel that you're getting progress and stuff, please reach out, book a call. Be happy to help. But thanks for your time today, Cole, and see you next week.
Thanks, Dave. Next time. Cheers.